Hello, everybody. Welcome to the May 2025 Concrete Town Hall. I'm Franz. This is Andy.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome. Let's get into it. All the news you can use. What have we done in the last month, Andy?
Yeah, we have done a lot. In the last month, we have done two core releases. They're both from the 9.4 branch. So this is the latest and greatest release of Concrete CMS. We released 9.4 just last week. There is a lot in this release, so definitely check out the release notes. Some of the things off the top of my head include huge changes and improvements to how we do error handling, which should help going forward when things like PHP 8 come along. In the past, that has kind of caused havoc with our system because we would report all errors, even the kind of smaller ones, as like these life-threatening, terrible, stop everything errors. And with 9.4, we are reclassifying how we deal with errors, and we're also giving you separate granular controls for how you log errors versus how you display them to users, or choose not to display them, or log them but not display them, that kind of stuff. It's huge change, much improved. Will make our lives and the lives of people who use concrete significantly easier over time. But in addition to that, there's lots more. Atomic now has new skins available. There is dark mode support in Atomic, and for any customizable theme, as well as in the core. And there's improvements to tasks. We add some new dashboard pages to control appearance settings in the core. Accessibility updates. We add open graph support directly to the core, which I know will make our internal team happy because we always need it for our sites, and setting it up for sites is annoying when you have to do it every single time. And so now that's in the core. Tons of improvements to import and export, and much more. So definitely check out 9.4. There's also a 9.4.1. So don't just upgrade to 9.4. That will not be something you want to do. Jump straight ahead to upgrading to 9.4.1. Definitely do an update on a stage first, and do a backup first, and check out your site before you make that change permanent. But we just did a 9.4.1 release today to fix some little issues that crept into the 9.4.0. So definitely check out both of those, and it's a really nice release for Concrete.
Very cool. I've been playing with it, and it is nice. The having dark mode within the app, but also in your theme, like your website can look different depending on time of day. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
All right. As surely you all know, Concrete is an open source project. We are here through the contributions of lots of people. So we like to take a moment to say thanks and shout out some folks who have done some work that we've noticed across documentation and GitHub. So Andy, do you want to go down the list of names here?
Absolutely. So thank you to everyone who submitted documentation over the last month. That includes M. Napole, M. Locati, and Fabian Bitter. And thank you to everyone who submitted GitHub issues, as well as pull requests to close issues in GitHub. And that includes Nick Ratering, Man Chicken 1911, RL Hawk 1, Click Parts Dominic, Ishi, Ashish Anal, Morier, KH Design Varine DE, M. Locati, Bitter Dev, and Diplobice. Thank you to everyone who helps make Concrete what it is today. And yeah, Franz is right. There's tons of stuff in 9.4.0 and 9.4.1 that comes directly from the community, and we would not be what we are without you. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you very much. Is Man Chicken 1911? Is that a newer? I don't remember that.
That is that. I don't believe that I have had the pleasure of introducing Man Chicken 1911 before now. So
welcome to the community.
I am pleased.
Man Chicken 1911.
It does raise questions. It raises questions. I hope to get answers to. Yes.
Awesome.
Hello, I'm John the Fish, and welcome to the Marketplace News. Our first add-on this month is Video Lightbox 2 by Emlocati. This is a pop-up video player which supports a number of different sources and formats and is designed to provide an upgrade path from a similarly named add-on from version 8. Video Lightbox 2 is free in the marketplace. The rest of this month's news is all by long-term developer Fabian Bitter. First, with the free add-ons, we have Temporary Redirect attribute, which adds a temporary redirect to a page. Free again is Horizontal Scroll Gallery. This displays a gallery of images which scroll horizontally linked to the scrolling of the page. Now we have another free gallery. This is Masonry Gallery, and it's a masonry template for the core image gallery. Now we're on to the paid add-ons, and this starts with Masonry Grid. This is another masonry display, but this time it's a complete block with more options over how the masonry is displayed and arranged. Masonry Grid is $25 in the marketplace. Also for $25 we have Panorama Viewer. This takes a JPEG or other image that wraps round into a 360-degree panorama and enables you to scroll round it in the display. Still at $25, Fabian's next add-on is Glossary List. This block builds a list of pages in a glossary style with an alphabetical index. Now we have Uploader Drop Zone attribute. This takes the familiar Drop Zone Uploader dialog and attaches it to a concrete attribute, so you can upload files from anywhere you could add an attribute. Drop Zone attributes is $35 in the marketplace. That's all from me, so I'll pass you over to Noor for the rest of this month's news.
Thank you, John. Hello, beautiful people. First, a word of apology as I have the flu and my voice might not sound as sexy as usual. Since AI can't do justice to my exquisite French accent, I'm still going to have to do it myself. Anywho, back to Fabian's humongous list of new packages. Let's start with Progress Bar, a simple block to show a progress bar on your page. You know those bars you can use to show your skills in different stuff like PHP 85%, JavaScript 15%? Easy to set up and they'll animate as they scroll into view. Progress Bar is $25. Then we have Simple Tables, another simple block. Add a table to any page, add columns with labels, enter your data like you would in Excel, and voila, table. Quick and easy for $25 in the marketplace. Moving on to Floating Action Menu, this lets you add a floating button to your website using any image or text. The button is meant to link to a page on the website. One good thing about this package is you can define a different button for each language in a multi-language website. This one is also $25. Next is Team Member, and I'm starting to see a pattern of very clearly named packages. Add the block to a page, select a photo, add a name and position, as well as contact information, and you have a member profile. Social networks and other contact details will include links as needed. And you guessed it, it's $25. Our next package, HTML Beautifier, is meant for developers and agencies who want to make sure their website markup looks neat. Adding blocks from different sources can mean a messy page markup when looking at it in the browser. This package deals with that automatically and formats it for you. It costs $25 in the marketplace. Then we have Counter, as simple as it gets. Add the block, select the target number, scroll to the block, the counter is animated until it reaches the target number. And you can have more than one counter per page, and it is also $25. And finally, we have Compare Images. Select two images you want to compare, add the block to the page, and that's it. The user will be able to drag a handle to reveal more or less of each image to see them side by side and compare. And it is, again, $25, as Mr. Shatner would say. Well, friends, thank you again for following our adventures. Be safe, and until next month.
Good morning, everyone. Today's site in the wild is the Panasonic Connect PC support site. So this is a multilingual site, and it's dedicated to support the hub for all of their PC support. So right now we're on the Japanese version. Let's switch over to the global. There we go. So this is all of the support for their Toughbooks. You can see here they have a really great search, so you can find all of their models. You can end up downloading everything you need for their manuals, or you can find support. There's lots of FAQs. There's some setup and maintenance. You can also find your warranty and repair. It's also a great area for all the FAQs and some troubleshooting. So like I said, this is both, you can have the Japanese. Multilingual is one of the great things Concrete runs on. Oh, look at this nice little areas. Here's their notices. You can see announcements. So they have a blog running through there. Very nice. Not sure who built this site, but it's a good looking site. Looks like it's very useful to anyone who needs support on their Toughbooks. So here's a nice little blog with all of their topics. This looks great. Thanks, everyone.
The first one here is about using Express. So Express is kind of a no-code model for creating lightweight relational databases inside of Concrete. And whenever you actually use our form builder, you're putting together a bunch of different attributes, and that's kind of a data object. It's actually built on top of Express, has been for a long time. So even if you just make a contact form on your website, you're creating Express entities behind the hood, and you can do stuff with those. And this question from Friday Photo, he has used Express to build stuff that sounds kind of app-like. He's got people who are filling out a form, and it's making an Express entry, and he wants to build pages out of that. Which sounds like maybe he's got that part working, but the question is, how do I make it so there is a friendly URL based on the content I created? And Express doesn't really build friendly URLs out of the gate because it's all just kind of handling data behind the scenes. And the question is pretty broad. It's kind of hard to know at a glance, like, well, how have you put these Legos together to make what you're talking about? But I can imagine it because we've done similar stuff. And I don't know if we can give you a particularly clear answer, but maybe we can point you in some different directions to explore. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I think we can. So this is the documentation for Express's what we call forms and controllers. So anyone who's worked with Express has set up an Express form before. So this is the view in the dashboard where you add in things like object name, and all the attributes that make up your object, and you can kind of group them into field sets. And then when you add the Express object, when you actually go to populate your content, that form is then shown to you in the dashboard with all of its different controls. So you get addresses if you put an address control in, stuff like that. Those are forms, but the controller is a little different. Every Express object has what is called a controller, but most of them, I mean, by default, they all use what is called the standard controller, which is just basically the standard operating way that Express works. So all that means is, like, if you create an Express object and you submit it, you type in, adding in your entry and you submit it, it runs through standard validation logic and stuff like that. And so the default controller is what is responsible for telling Concrete how to validate your Express or how to save its save its data, that kind of stuff. And for 99.9% of Express applications, you don't need to worry about that because it's just going to use kind of the standard way. So if you need to validate that the address is valid, like you mark it as valid, validate this in when you're setting up your Express object, and you move on. But if you have special validation logic, or you need to do something like this post asks about, like maybe you want to create a page whenever an entry is created or something like that, then what you might do is create what we call a custom express controller, and then tell Concrete that anytime that object is interacted with, you should use the custom express controller. And if you do that, you can then control with code exactly how all of these aspects work. So you could, for example, if you rolled your own controller and then within that rolled your own validator, you could add custom validation logic to say, like, I'm going to make sure that banned words aren't used in my express object, or I'm going to make sure that this object can only associate with another object one time, or something like that. It's sort of up to you how you need to use that. Typically, business logic is not something that's easy to just guess at, because if you're using this type of functionality, you're wanting to do something kind of custom. So I share this page because I think it's a good starting point to get the original poster what they need. I think what you could do is you could create a custom express controller and then register it here with your express object, and then create what is called a custom entry manager. And if you scroll down this page to the custom code on entry lifecycle events, you can see, a very brief mention of this functionality that is called the entry manager. And the entry manager is the very simple code in the core that is responsible for persisting those objects when they come in. And so what I would suggest the original poster to do is create this custom controller, create a custom entry manager that your custom controller delivers whenever this object is used. And then within those methods that the entry manager has, you'll have methods like
Add entry, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, like add entry.
Save entry attributes form.
Yeah, that's perfect. So that, like, add entry, update entry, things like that. In add entry is a perfect place for where he could define his own custom logic that would create a page. And it could even create a page based on the same name as whatever the express object was created as. And then you could even tie those things together by using an express attribute on the derived page that points back to the original one. So you keep that linked together. And I mean, it's not going to be the easiest, most entry-level Concrete code that anyone has ever written, but I think this is kind of the place where you can really get into the weeds with Express, but also build in such a way that it's going to still maintain backward compatibility. You're not forking the core to get this kind of functionality.
Hopefully that gets you going a little bit Friday Photo, or at least get you to a spot where you can kind of give us a little bit more detail on where you actually, how far are you, what's working, and what the success look like.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good luck indeed. In the other forums we're going to talk about this week, it'll be pretty easy here. Somebody asking, I need a downloadable ICS file, which is like an event type file for published events. I'd like the calendar block to have some kind of export, and fair question. And then I see it's actually marked as solve, because the calendar event block has an export function that does export to an ICS file. And
it's wonderful when that happens.
Unbelievable.
It doesn't happen that often, but it's wonderful when it happens.
There's an actual Express answer for you. You already have it. You're looking in the wrong place. So that is great. What did you think? Oh yeah, we actually built that one for you. Right on. All right. Well, there's just a couple of some answers to some questions, some from us, some from the community. Thank you, everybody, for helping one another. All right, guys, that is what we have for this month's town hall. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a active member of the Concrete community. We appreciate you, and we'll see you again in a month.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.